Welcome back to the Jacked Up Fantasy Football League Week 12 recap show. I'm flying solo tonight. Zach is a little under the weather, so I hope he feels better by this weekend because we're going down to Miami for the Browns and Dolphins game this weekend. I'm taping this on the Thursday night. It's halftime of the Cavs and the Heat game, and the Cavs have, as expected, have an uphill battle. But it's good to hear all the boos and the Q. I almost call it the Guns Arena, but at the Q, it's good to hear all the boos. I know Bubban, the owner of the Farmers Tans, at that game, so hope he's enjoying the game. But so far, the Cavs are down at halftime. So let's go into the recap of Week 12. Again, I'm flying solo today, and before I start the recap show, I just want to congratulate my boy Tony, owner of TNT, for getting married last weekend. Of course, that's a picture of him in the middle. It was a great time last weekend. He is on his honeymoon now in Punta Cana, or whatever the hell it's called. So I hope you're having a good time with your wife. It was a good time at the wedding, and it was a great weekend, great Thanksgiving weekend. It was good to see family, weekend, the whole 9 yards. The wedding was fun. Let's go into some of the games that don't really have a whole lot of meaning here. Let's talk about the Cocoa Puffs and the High Flyers. Two teams that are going nowhere but towards a race towards a top 5 pick in the 2011 draft. The Cocoa Puffs gets like 38, 39 points from the Jets defense. That's really about it. For the High Flyers, not much. I think he got like 18 points from the Giants defense. He got nothing from Terrell Owens. He got nothing from Big Ben. So again, two teams are going nowhere. Disappointing because Cocoa Puffs was the runner-up last year, and he's way out of the playoff race. And of course, the High Flyers were finished third last year, and he has of course been eliminated for a long time now. So two teams going nowhere. I spent about 30 seconds too long on that game. Frosty Paws 141, T-Mac Attack 98. As expected, Frosty Paws wins this game, but I did pick T-Mac Attack because I taped the show last Thursday after Tom Brady went off for 47 points, and I really thought that would be the difference. But who would have thought that Tom Brady would outscore Phillip Rivers by 41 points, and Frosty Paws still ends up winning by 43. T-Mac Attack, he just can't score enough points. Half his points, as I just mentioned, were from Brady. But besides that, I mean, his guys just, excuse me, couldn't do much. Frank Gore gets hurt on Monday night. He's out for the year. So T-Mac cannot wait for this season to be over with. 11 straight loss. That just continues the record losing streak. It was only 7 games going into this season. So he has shattered the record for 11 straight losses. I don't think anyone will ever break that record. It's a record you don't want to break. But again, for T-Mac, this is his last season, and he can't wait for it to be over with. And, whatever. He's got 2 more games, and after that he's done. But, part of his legacy will be in our record books forever, but not the type of legacy that you want. TNT and Farmers Tan, as expected, TNT wins this game. Farmers Tan, just the last couple of weeks, can't score any points. 4 straight losses after starting the season 6-2. He loses 4 straight games. He's back to 6-6. It's funny because Bubban was dressed up here in a suit and tie. I think he was waiting for that invitation from Tony to come to his wedding because these guys get along so well since the beginning of the season. And I think he was a little disappointed he didn't make the cut there for the wedding invitation. So, but he was ready. As you can see in the picture, he was definitely ready to come to your wedding, Tony. But he never got the invite. Maybe, I went to the wrong place or whatever. But TNT wins his 3rd straight game. He is back in the wild card race, and he's actually tied for the wild card as we speak. We'll go into the standings in just a second. The Bulldogs absolutely destroy his neighbor. This was not even close. Dwayne Bowe goes off 3 touchdowns. Peyton Hillis goes off for the Browns, 3 touchdowns. I mean, absolute blowout. And, you know, Randy's season is done. He's been officially eliminated. So it's appropriate that his team name is the Eliminators, because 2 years in a row he wasn't eliminated with 3 weeks to go. For the Bulldogs, with this win, he clinches his first ever division title and, of course, playoff spot. I made fun of this guy for the last year and a half, and I'm finally starting to give him some props. I wrote a story about him and Zach for clinching the playoffs. So congratulations, Mark, man. You're not winning because you're in a weak division. You're winning because you're scoring a lot of points. And Peyton Hillis and Dwayne Bowe obviously are carrying this team right now, because Peyton Manning is starting to, you know, last 2 weeks he hasn't done anything, and you're still scoring all these points. So congrats to Mark. Look forward to see what you can do in the playoffs. Hopefully you'll play me in the playoffs. Archon Tigers destroys yours truly by 60 points. I was worried about this game because of the matchups. None of my matchups were favorable, but you gotta give credit to Archon Tigers. He rebounds after losing his second game of the season by blowing out the Playmakers, the second best team in that division, going into last week, of course. And you know, he clinches his 3rd straight division in as many years. This is his 3rd season in our league, and you got to give credit where credit's due. No matter what he does from this point on, of course, it would be a disappointment for Zach if he doesn't three-peat. But no matter what he does from this point, you can't take away that he's won 3 straight division titles. No one's ever done that up until this point. And, you know, back-to-back championships. So we'll see what the playoffs bring. He still has 2 very, very important victories before he can engrave his name for the 3rd straight time in this trophy right here. It's funny because Zach is sick, couldn't make it, but somehow his trophy is always here, always makes it. It's funny how that works. The game of the week, Serve Destroyers and the Prime Timers. You know, last week there were 3 matchups of second-place teams beating first-place teams, and with the exception of this game, the first-place team blows out the second-place team. But not in this case. Serve Destroyers win their 5th straight game. The first half of the season, they were 2-5. They are now at 5-0 in the second half of the season, the 5th straight. And you know, they win by 10. They kind of squeak by here. And the difference here is Chris Johnson, the #1 overall pick, has the worst game of his career. 0 points. 5 rushing yards, I think 7 receiving yards. The absolute worst game ever. And that really is the reason why the Serve Destroyers won here, because he didn't have a great game. I mean, the 2 quarterbacks did, between Jay Cutler, who had 4 touchdowns, and Matt Castle had 4 touchdowns. So those 2 guys gave him a bunch of points for both teams. That kind of balanced it out. But the difference here was definitely Chris Johnson having the worst game of his career. Otherwise, Prime Timers would have won this game and had a 2-game lead. As it stands now, they are tied for the division. This is the most interesting race here for the division. Other 2 have been already wrapped up. Take a look at the standings. Again, congratulations to Archon Tigers. They won the East, 10-2. TNT, with this 3rd straight victory, is now tied for the wild card. And Farmers Tan still has a chance here, believe it or not. In the Central, again, Serve Destroyers, if the playoffs started now, he would be in the playoffs, because the first tiebreaker is not head-to-head, it is points scored. That's the way it's always been. Frosty Paws, funny enough, that he has been eliminated from the wild card race, but he still has a chance to win his division. He needs a miracle, obviously. He has to win his last 2 games. He controls his own destiny. He plays the Serve Destroyers and the Prime Timers, and he has to hope that T-Mac Attack beats them both. Jake this week and the Prime Timers next week, he wins both, and then it's going to go down to the tiebreaker. And the way Frosty Paws have been scoring a lot of points, you never know. You know, it could happen. But technically, he is not eliminated from the division, but he has been eliminated from the wild card race. So it'll be interesting to see the next 2 weeks here. But again, he needs a lot of help to make the playoffs. In the West, Mark wins his division very easily. Eliminators and Cocoa Puffs are in second place, 4 games back at 5-7. The High Flyers, again, a very, very disappointing team. Probably the most disappointing team this year, in my opinion, 3-9. The playoff picture with 2 weeks to go. Every year it's interesting, and this year is no different. 2 teams have clinched their divisions and playoff berth. 6 teams are still fighting for 2 spots with 2 games to go. Last week, I was in the playoffs as of 3 weeks ago, and so was Ryan. Well, now we're out of it. It's quickly, what a difference a week makes here. Now Jake's in the playoffs because of the tiebreaker, and so is TNT. So again, point scores is going to be huge these next 2 weeks. Not only do you have to win and score a lot of points in order to make the playoffs. TNT has a very comfortable lead with 2 games to go as far as the points scored. He's up like 150 points on everyone else that's chasing him. So, he kind of controls his own destiny here. He wins, and he's definitely in. He doesn't have to worry about tiebreakers because TNT last 2 seasons ended the season at 8-6, and both times was tied for the wild card, but lost on tiebreakers. So he's making sure that doesn't happen this year. He is leading the whole league in scoring. Again, Frosty Paws is in the playoff picture because he still has a chance to win this division. And Farmers Tan, after losing 4 straight, he definitely has an uphill battle right there. Again, congratulations to the first 2 teams. I don't want to talk too much more about this. I gave you guys enough props. I wrote an article a couple of days ago that I posted. So, again, I'm starting to finally buy into the Bulldogs here because they're definitely playing some good football, some good fantasy football. Mark definitely, is looking better in that picture with 2 hot Denver Bronco cheerleaders. Zach's looking pretty good there too in his little sport coat, and I think that was the MGM Grand for Tony's bachelor party there. Looking good there, but these 2 guys are definitely the favorites as of right now to win this thing. But you never know. Thanks for watching Week 12 recap show coming up next in a few minutes here after I take a break and check the score of the Cavs game and the Eagles game as well. After I check those scores, we'll do Week 13 preview. But that's all the time we have. See you guys in a few. Peace.